Right, yes. So welcome back to our YouTube channel, my trader friends. This is again the Engineer Trader, your partner from learning to earning. So before we start, I just wanted to greet you good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are across the globe right now. Okay, so for this video tutorial of Python programming, we will try to discuss the list range on how we can call a specific range of items inside our list. And without further ado, let's start our list range Python programming tutorial. So, viewing a range of items inside a list. Here, this will be our topic for this video. And aside to calling an item in a list by their index numbers, which we have already tackled, so if you don't know yet how to call an item from the list using the index numbers, both the positive numbers and the negative index numbers, please try to watch it first for you to be able to cope up in this video discussion regarding range easier. So check it on our playlist on our channel. Okay, so aside to calling an item without by using the index numbers, we can also call them by creating a range. So basically, the syntax is here, this list variable name, then the square bracket, then start of range, semicolon, and the end of range, plus 1. So the plus 1 here actually, before the task, the plus 1 here, my friends, the reason of having a plus 1 here is that the end number stated here, for example, we state here 5. So the 5 is considered by the Python programming as the last number that is not shown. Okay, that is the range, the end of range. That's why we're always adding 1. Because the number here, the corresponding item on the number here is not shown by the Python. So we should always add another 1. Okay, so that is the reason of having a plus 1. Okay, so for the task, we have here the task, call some items from our technical indicator list using the range 3 to 7. So 3 will be our, based on our syntax, 3 will be the start of our range, and of course the 7 will be the end of our range. Since we are trying to, since we are trying to show the 7th item, meaning to say that is actually the 5th item on our list. Okay, so index 5. Okay, so without further ado, let's go to our Jupyter notebook and let's start our coding. Okay, so here we are on our Jupyter notebook. Before we start, let's have first our title. So let's write here list range. Okay, take note of the spelling. Okay, so list range. Then let's mark down and run. Okay, so we have here the list range, and based on our task, we should call some items from our technical indicator list, which is this one, the last technical indicator update on our last tutorial, which is actually we used there the extend method. So we should call some of the items inside this technical indicator list using the range 3 to 7. Start is 3 and is 7. Okay, so let's try it. Actually, we can print technical. It is just basic. We will just print the syntax indicated on our PowerPoint presentation. So technical indicators. So this is the syntax, this is the variable name. Then based on our syntax there, we should have now our square bracket, then start and the end plus 1 of the range. Okay, so we have here square bracket. Start is 3 and the end of range plus 1, that is 7 based on our what we call this, based on our task. Okay, so before entering, actually, if you enter this right now, we will be having our output. But before that, let's try to guess what will be the output. So technical indicators, based on our result of our previous video discussion regarding the extend method, the number 3 index there is actually not the stochastics, because this is the number 2. As you can still recall on our tutorial regarding indexing, the first item is always considered as 0 in counting, not 1. So meaning to say, moving average is not 1 to 0. So moving average is 0. This is 1, relative strength index. Stochastics will be 2. And 3 will be standard deviation. So meaning to say, our first output here on our list range is the standard deviation. And up to Fibonacci is, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 Fibonacci, 5 Bollinger Bands. MACD is 6 and 7 is parabolic SAR. Since I have said before that the number 7 here, or the end of the range here, is always not included in the output, meaning to say our last output here is the MACD, and the parabolic SAR is not included. That is the reason why we are always having an additional 1. And this is actually means print the items number 3, index number 3, up to index number 6. That is actually what this means. Okay, so let's check. The answer again, the answer must be from standard deviation up to MACD. Okay, so let's check if we are correct. Okay, so let's run this again. Just a hint. Shift plus return. So click Shift return if you are a Mac user. Shift and enter if you are a Windows user. That is the shortcut key for running the code. Or if you don't want it, just click the run code here. This button. Okay, so let's run this. And as you can see, we are correct. The output is from standard deviation up to MACD. So standard deviation, Fibonacci, Bollinger Bands, and MACD. Meaning to say, that is the range 3 to 7. Or basically, that means this is the range 3 to 6. Okay? So, I think that's it for now, my trader friends. I hope you learn on this list range function. But before we end this, I presume you think this is the last part. We actually have our range variation. So I hope the task before is clear with you, because on this range variation, we will try to have some additional techniques. Okay, so for the first variation of the range function, getting a range of values from the start up to specified end of range. So for the syntax on this first variation, list variable name, then square bracket. Here we have a space here before the semicolon, then end of the range plus 1. Meaning to say, we are trying to get the values of the range function from the very beginning up to your specified end of range. That is the first variation. For the second variation of the range function, we are trying to get a range of values from a specified starting index up to the end of range. So meaning to say, if we will see the syntax, we have the list variable names, then start of range, semicolon. The space now is on the last part, not on the first part, unlike on the first variation. Meaning to say, we are trying to call a set of values from our list using the range function from the stated start of range up to the very last item. That is the second variation. Okay, so for the task, we have here our task. So for the first task, we should call the first 5 items in our technical indicator list. Okay, and for the second task, we should call the last 5 items in our technical indicator list. Okay, so actually, let's try to have the first task only. So polling the first 5 items in our technical indicator list. Okay, so let's go now to our Jupyter notebook. First 5. So for the first 5, print technical indicators. So for the first 5, that basically means from 0. So let's count. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to Fibonacci. And if we will count this beginning into 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our output should be from moving average up to Fibonacci. But, so that means 0. So that means 0, or even we don't state it because based on our task, we should call the first 5. So it is actually considered already by the Python. So just leave a space here. Then this one, colon, then 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th item. But what we should write here is this one. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's write here 5. And this is because our syntax, as you can see on our syntax there, the syntax is here. End of range plus 1. So instead of writing here 4, we should write here 5. Okay, so let's print this. Output is moving average, relative strand index, stochastic, standard deviation, and Fibonacci. And that is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the first 5 items in our list. Okay, so this is the first variation. Let's have here our note. Okay. Okay, next, for the second variation, we can now print. Let's copy this. Okay. This is the second variation. It says there that the syntax of having the second variation is start of range up to the, what we call this, up to the end of range. So just leave it blank. But if you can see our task is to call the last 5 items in our technical indicator list. Meaning to say, the output should be, let's zoom out, pivot points, money flow index, Williams %R, Ichimoku Kinkoyu, and average through range. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that must be the output. And if you still remember, the negative indexing that can be actually applied here. So just delete this number 5 since based on our syntax of the second variation of using the range, this must be blank. We can actually write here -5. Why -5? Because again, for negative indexing, the very last item is considered as -1. This is -2. This is -3, -4, and -5. So for us to be able to print average through range up to the pivot points, which is the last 5 items inside our list, adhering to our task, we should write this one. -5, then colon, and space. So let's see if that will be our answer. Okay, so let's run this. And what is our error? Okay, I double. Sorry for the typographical error. I double the print word. Okay, so let's run this again. Okay, so average through range, Ichimoku, Williams, money flow, and pivot point. So that's it for the calling of the last 5 items in our technical indicator. So I hope you learned something from this video, my friend. That is how the range function is used in calling some items inside our list. Okay, so if you like and if you learn this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and also share this video to your friends who are currently also learning all about Python programming. So see you on our next video tutorial. Don't give up. We will we will run through this and you will master Python sooner or later. I believe in you, my friends. So again, this is the Engineer Trader, your partner from learning to earning. And as always, may your trades be great. Bye-bye.